Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. This is Geraldine with Infrastructure Resources, and I'd like to thank you for joining us today for our webinar, How Southwest Gas Uses Software to Help Guide Their Damage Prevention Processes, sponsored by Earth Solutions. Our presenters today are Alex Murray and Dennis Bott from Southwest Gas, and they'll be introducing themselves here shortly. If you have any questions throughout the webinar for Alex and Dennis, just click on the Q&A icon or the chat feature in your Zoom menu and type in your question. They'll be answered at the end of the presentation. And we also have representatives from Earth Solutions on this webinar, so you can submit any questions you might have for them as well into chat, and they will answer or follow up with you. This webinar is being recorded and will be available to watch on dppro.com. And with that, welcome Alex and Dennis. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Excellent. All right. Well, first of all, we'd like to thank Infrastructure Resources and DP Pro magazine for facilitating this webinar, for us to share some exciting things that we're doing here at Southwest Gas and partnering with Earth Solutions and utilizing their software to help in our damage prevention efforts. So before we get started, Dennis and I wanted to take a brief moment to introduce ourselves. So I'm Alex Murray. I'm the damage prevention administrator here at Southwest Gas in our corporate staff work group called Gas Operations Support Staff, and our main focus is supporting operations. Mine specifically is supporting operations and damage prevention. Working with Dennis Bott, he's our local damage prevention administrator. He'll introduce himself in a moment, but we have damage prevention administrators all around the company in our 5 divisions. So my role is to work with the other damage prevention administrators and encourage standardization, support them with policies and procedures. And I have roughly 14 years in the utility industry. The last 5 years have been with Southwest Gas at this capacity. And then prior to that, I was a contract line locator. My last position was an operations manager in Northern Nevada.
Yeah, my name is Dennis Bott. I've been in the damage prevention industry going over 20 plus years now. And as Alex, I started in the line locate world as well, way back when, and worked for a couple different line locate companies, and also worked for the city of Mesa in their damage prevention program and line locating operations. And I joined Southwest Gas about 5 years ago. Actually, I took the very first damage prevention administrator position that Southwest Gas offered about 5 years ago. So this has been about 5 years in the making, what we're going to share with you today. We're really excited to bring this to everybody today. Alex.
So we're really excited to share our damage prevention excavator consultations process here at Southwest Gas, driven by the FIP standard. But before we get into all that, one of the things we wanted to share with you is our service territory. So we have a bit of diversity here, as you can see. So I mentioned we're in 5 divisions. You can see that each of those divisions are a star on the map here.
Alex?
Yes.
Your screen is not sharing.
Oh, well, that's,
I'm out.
Yeah, well, let's fix that. Sorry about that. Okay, let's try this again. How about now?
Yep, if you can make it full screen, that will be perfect. There you go.
Okay, well, this was the slide that everyone was supposed to see during the introductions. Okay, great. So let's jump into the company's diversity and the area that we serve. So the star with the circle is our corporate headquarters located in Las Vegas, Nevada. The other star locations are the 5 divisions in each of the 3 states that we serve. And then, of course, the orange dots are the communities that we serve. And then those little hockey puck looking icons are LNG facilities. We have one in Northern Nevada, and then we have our newest one in Southern Arizona. So you can see we serve some of the coldest areas of the company is in our Northern Nevada service territory. And then We range from open desert to very urban areas, along with prevalent buildings like the Las Vegas Strip area. We have 55,000 miles of main and service, over 2 million customers, and we have just over 2,300 employees. And we'll go ahead and jump into the consultation process that we built and how Earth Solutions supported that process. So the first thing that we did, like Dennis had mentioned, is the company, Southwest Gas, has always been focused on damage prevention. And 5 years ago, we decided to get laser focused in damage prevention and hire damage prevention administrators. And one of the first initiatives of the damage prevention administrators was to focus on our damage prevention letters. Now, those letters are the communication, both formal and informal, to excavators who damaged our facilities, that we'd like to invite them to damage prevention training. And then we also utilize those letters as an escalation process. So if you've hit us for the first time, you're going to get a letter, right, inviting you to training. If you've hit us the second time, that's the escalation. So we have letters A through F. We even have letters for individuals or excavators who don't want to partner with Southwest Gas. Maybe they don't want to attend our training for whatever reason. And we can push those letters all the way up to our local state regulators. And then we don't have to do that often, fortunately. So the next part of our process was enhancing the damage prevention training, not just amongst Southwest Gas. So we had a consistent message amongst our employees and the individuals that were hosting the training for the excavator community, but the other utility operators in our service territory. So again, we had that consistent message in damage prevention. And it was really at this point that we took a step back, we looked at our process, and we considered it pretty good, but pretty reactive at the same time. And we knew that in damage prevention, we wanted to get out there much sooner. So how can we get in front of excavators sooner and influence their decisions before they start putting equipment around our infrastructure? And one of the things that we did was introduce the damage prevention alerts. And the damage prevention alerts is the empowerment of our employees in stop work authority. So what that means is any one of our employees, regardless whether they're a field employee or an office employee, if they happen to see something, it gives them an opportunity to see something. So if it looks like there's an unsafe digging condition or situation, they have an avenue to report that. And the damage prevention administrator can send resources to partner with the excavator, inform them of safe digging practices, stop them from digging until they have a valid dig ticket. But it's definitely a proactive measure. But again, we really want to get out there sooner than that. So we felt like that was pretty good, but whoops. It was SmartScore, what Earth Solutions calls SmartScore, is what helped us tie this entire process together. And I'll get into what SmartScore is in just a moment. But again, this was really what helped tie the excavator damage prevention consultation process together. So I mentioned that Earth Solutions, aka Utilisphere, is the software company that provided us with SmartScore that helped tie this process together. And basically, SmartScore scores dig tickets as they come into our ticket management system, which is also provided by Earth Solutions. And it risk ranks the dig ticket, it gives it a score, and when it meets a certain threshold, we know what we want to do with that ticket, which I'll review here in just a moment. But basically, the score is calculated by previous excavator history. And so we have a damage database that houses all of our excavation damages, and we provide that data to Utilisphere so that they can crunch that data and take those excavators, specifically repeat offender excavators, and give a higher risk ranking score on those dig tickets so that we can focus on, so that we know which tickets we can focus on. We also provide facility information. So if we have any critical facilities such as high pressure or inherently brittle facilities like PVC, it will add additional weighting to that ticket and increase the score that's on those tickets. What's really helpful about the score that's on those tickets is it's configurable, and we don't need to go to Earth every single time we we want to reconfigure or raise or reduce the amount of risk that's that's adding weight to the ticket. So we can create and manipulate, if you will, but really the term I think is configure, right? So we can reconfigure the level of weighting that's on each individual calculation that's a part of that score. And an example of that, if Bob's Backhoe Company is a company that I really want to focus on, I can increase the level of risk every single time that individual calls in a ticket. Other examples is property owners. We have one of our service territory property owners. We joke, we think to be a property owner in one of those areas is that you have to own a backhoe to be a property owner. So we decided to partner with the local one call center, and every single time a ticket comes in that says property owner on it, we can add more weighting to that ticket so that we can get in front of property owners. And then trouble locates is another example. So we have positive responses in our ticket management system that revolve around trouble locates. And if those positive responses trigger, then they also add weight to the score that's on the ticket. And then part of that configuration is that we can score by division. So I mentioned we have 5 divisions. They're vastly different from area to area. Like I mentioned, Northern Nevada gets tons of snow. Southern Nevada, we don't get any snow at all. We're lucky to get rain. So what we wanted to do was score specifically by division so that if we had an excavator who worked in both divisions, they had one group that worked really well in one, but not so well in the other. We didn't want that group that did really well to get affected by the other group. So we focus on those scores by division for that reason. And then of course, there's some other reasons that go along with that. But before we initiated Smart Score here at Southwest Gas, we had a pilot. And we had some challenges as part of the pilot. We learned some things, but those challenges really turned into successes. And we had scores showing up in the work item bucket where cleared work areas were showing up, and we were meeting with excavators who didn't even have gas facilities in their dig area. But what was happening is the high pressure on the main roads is what was causing that, or maybe the excavator was a repeat offender or had damaged us in the past, but there just wasn't any gas facilities in their area. So we wanted to be respectful of the excavator's time. We wanted to utilize our resources more efficiently. So again, I mentioned that Smart Score is configurable. So we went back in there, we worked with the folks over at Earth, and they helped us create a threshold. So whenever a ticket meets a certain threshold, it will create a work item where we can go in and address that high risk dig ticket. We also configured it so that when a line locator responds with marked completely or any other positive response that alludes to gas lines located for that ticket, those will show up in a threshold or in the work item basket versus those cleared work areas. And then another challenge that we had is when we did get tickets that met that threshold and we looked at them, we were looking to address that or call the excavator to schedule a damage prevention consultation with them. We got their voicemail, and but again, that's really not that big a deal. We hope that we get a hold of them. We actually get a chance to talk to them because we want to schedule that consultation so that we show up when they show up. And like I mentioned, we want to influence their decisions before they have an opportunity to start digging around our pipeline. So when we do get the voicemails, we just go ahead and just head out there, and we hope to capture them. If we don't, then we'll drive back again until we see them digging and attempt to build that relationship and that partnership. So as part of the successes, it was allowing us to get in front of our excavators and attempt to build those strategic partnerships, and it was helping us refine our overall process because, like Dennis said, this has been 5 years in the making. We didn't always have Smart Score. We've had Smart Score, I want to say, for the past year or two now, if we count the pilot phase. And we built the reactive process. We built the damage prevention alerts, and now that we have Smart Score, it really does just help tie this whole process together. So one of the things that we wanted to just address that with the attendees here is that first and foremost, damage prevention, it really is all about partnership and relationship building with the excavator community. So one of the things that we focus on is we here at Southwest Gas, we consider the excavator our customer. And we want to make, we strive for customer excellence. We want to make sure that when the line locator is out there, that we have good communication. And this is something that we really strive to focus on here at Southwest. And the ultimate goal is zero damages. And I know that we've got the illustration here that it's like pushing a boulder up a hill. And a lot of the times we have a lot of, people hear that we strive for zero. And the counter is that, well, you'll never get to zero. And we respectfully disagree. We think that if we continue to enhance our processes, and we continue to look at new technologies, it's something that we can continue to strive for and hope to achieve in the near future. So we wanted to share some data as part of the pilot phase falls into this. And then of course, now that SmartScore is live across all 5 divisions, we do have a little bit of data to share with you. Now, it's not all attributed to SmartScore. We do have an entire process built around it. We do have a damage prevention program that's comprehensive here at Southwest. And there's just a lot of things that factor into this data here. But here, we wanted to share with you in 2019, from January to August, we had 620 damages. And then we wanted to share a comparison to that here in 2021, that we've had 561. And those are all excavation related damages that are all reportable to DOT. And our damage ratio was 1.25, and it's reduced down to 1.0, which is a 20% reduction in that damage ratio per 1,000 tickets, which is the industry recognizable way that we benchmark with the other folks in our peer group. And we were able to achieve that with a 19% increase in big tickets from 2019 to 2021, which is super exciting. Those numbers continue to grow. I think we're slated to hit somewhere between 950,000 to 1 million tickets this year. And then we also wanted to share some data from some of our areas. We've had a 10% reduction in excavation damages company-wide. We've had let me see if I can move that. We've had a 9% reduction in damages in our Southern Arizona market, 12% reduction in damage in Central Arizona. And we've had a 20% reduction in damages in Southern Nevada. And just so the group is aware, the pilot did take place in our Southern Nevada territory before we went company-wide. So with that, I will pass it over to my colleague, Dennis Bott, to talk about the consultation process in detail.
Right on. I'm going to take this keypad. So thanks, Alex. I really appreciate this. And this is what's exciting for me. And I know Alex and the rest of the damage prevention administrators is because we really feel like SmartScore was that last piece of the puzzle that really kind of fit in what we were building to really enhance all of the efforts that were going on to improve damages. And so the idea of strategic partnerships is exactly what Alex alluded to just a little while ago, which is the culture of thinking of the excavator that's calling in a dig request as a customer. And so this is something that we pass along, and we're integrating this culture to our line locate contractors, and even with our internal line locate folks, is that, look, we need to view them as a customer because they are requesting a service from us, right? And so I think that was a big shift in kind of the culture, the way of thinking like, well, Southwest Gas is my customer because Southwest Gas is paying me to mark the facility. But we make it very clear, but the excavator is the one that's requesting the service. So they need to be considered a customer as well. And really what it comes down to is our responsibility in this whole process of the one call process is our job as a utility owner operator is to provide the best, most accurate information that we can to the excavator so that the excavator, or what I like to call the decision makers, can make the best decision when working around our facilities. And if I can get the excavator and the line locator communicating at that high level, 100%, and we're providing that good customer service, we really do see the damages go down, as Alex has pointed out. So let's move on. And so while we were creating, when we were looking and we were piloting the SmartScore program, we realized right up front that this is going to be an amazing tool for us to put in our tool bag. but we've got to do something with it. You know, Smart Score is not just a silver bullet that says, hey, put out all this information and the algorithm's going to spit out the next 6 people that are going to hit your lines. That's not how it works. How it works is it says, give us all this information and we're going to risk rank your tickets and tell you these are the riskiest tickets. But that's what's provided for us. What do you do with that information? So we came up with the PIP standard while we were working in this pilot. We thought, okay, what do we need to do to build that strategic partnership? What is it that we need to do? Well, we need to solidify, or we need to provide excellent customer service, which is what I've been pounding on. But we also need to influence behavior, influence safe digging practices with our customers, right? And we've got to promote our damage prevention training. That's huge. Damage prevention training is huge because right now, if you go and talk to excavators, as I do quite often, and I talk to them, hey, I've got some really good training for you. The first thing I always hear is, hold on, time out, Dennis. We already have so much training. We've got OSHA training. We've got dust control training. We've even got turtle training, at least here in Southern Nevada. And so to add another training to my team, and I know you're offering it to us for free, but really to send my team and to send my employees over to get training, it does cost time. And everybody knows how precious time can be and how expensive time can be in some cases. So we've got to promote what I like to call a valuable damage prevention training. They've got to find value in that. Our customers do, or the excavators. And then once we've done all of that, we've got to solidify that partnership. We can't just work with these folks, bring them onto our team, and then put them on a shelf and say, okay, you're on our team, great, now we're going to move on to the next, and forget about it. We have to continue to solidify that relationship. That's an extremely important part of the process. So how does this work? How do we build this PIP standard? Well, what we decided to do, and including the Smart Score and what we do with that Smart Score data and that Smart Score information that we receive. Well, we broke it up into two and Alex alluded to this, kind of two areas. One is what we call the proactive, right? And then the other is called the reactive. And so just as a quick little roadmap, and we're going to get to each one of these, is that the proactive, it evolves around the field. What's going on in the field and what we're doing with that Smart Score work. And then we move it into a reactive with going into the office and really starting to build that relationship, that strategic partnership that we're all after, that we're ultimately looking for. So let's dive into this a little bit. So proactive. Now, Alex talked about the damage prevention alert. What we realized kind of right on when I started working with Alex, and Alex, you jumped on board like a year after I got on board. So, and Alex and I have had a relationship in the line locate community. So I think we really clicked. And as we kind of put our heads together and started thinking about it, we thought, my goodness, at Southwest Gas, we have an army of people. And I remember as a line locator, I used to say, I will take all the eyes and the ears in the field. I remember passing my card out to everybody that I could, especially the contractors, and saying, look, I need the eyes and the ears, because when I send out my line locators, I don't get to watch them and I can't oversee their work. I can't be that helicopter guy that oversees all their work. So I need all the eyes and ears. And so we have, try to build that army of people that are out there and can report back from the field, any issues or concerns that we can address to improve the process. So what we thought is, boy, Southwest Gas has a whole bunch of employees and contractors all over the city running around out there. What if we empower them and we give them, and not all of them are as experienced in one call law or 811 to 811 process, but what we thought is, let's build kind of a quick little training, kind of an easy to understand 811 presentation, give it to all of these folks and make them our eyes and ears. And as they're out and about in the community, if they see an excavation taking place, give them an avenue to report that and to send that back to the damage prevention group. And then what we would do is we would take that and head out there and start working with the excavator. And in this picture, this is actually one that Alex and I was on a walk. We were taking a walk, taking a break, getting a little exercise, and we actually came across this excavator working. So this actually turned into a damage prevention alert. But I'll get back to that in just a minute. But now, when Smart Score was introduced, and that's kind of, you'll see, this is kind of when the light bulb went on and went, aha, this is what we've been missing. We have our damage prevention alerts. Fantastic, right? That's going to take care of those people that's really hard to get to when we're talking about reducing damages, which is the excavators or the folks that are not calling in line locate tickets or dig requests or 811, whatever you want to call it. And that is what really the damage prevention alert is. That piece is really meant to focus in on those folks that are not calling 811, right? Because the smart score, if they're not calling 811, they're not going to be ranked. It doesn't hit the radar. So damage prevention alerts really now we've changed the focus to that's who we want to get to. That's our intended focus and audience is the people that are not calling in 811. Now, smart score, this is where we go. Now, this is perfect. I have, I don't know, hundreds of contractors out there in Southern Nevada. Hundreds. So who do I work with? Which one do I start with? And your smart score. Smart score says, these are the top 10 people that you might want to work with. And as we go out and we start building that relationship, we can adjust the algorithm, as Alex mentioned, and we can say, okay, we are now not considering this excavator because we've built that strategic partnership. We're going to lower that influence or, you know, that weight in the algorithm so that another excavator will pop up. And so as we go through this, you'll see this was the damage prevention alert. As Alex and I was out there, you know, I asked the guy, the first thing I said is, hey, do you have a dig ticket? And the guy says, yes, I have the dig ticket. And one thing that I've always noticed when I'm out there working with excavators is that they always say, Dennis, here's my dig ticket. Whether it's a damage, you know, whether it's me visiting them on a damage prevention alert or on a consultation. Yep, I have my dig ticket. Here it is. They love to tell me that. My next question is always, where are your marks, right? Where's the positive response? And this gentleman, when we asked him, he goes, where are the marks? And now you can see he's bending over and trying to find the marks. I'm like, if you don't know, you lost, right? You've already lost, sir. If you got to bend over to look under the backhoe, you've already lost the game. Okay, so now let's get into this consultation process that we put together. And this is, we're going to start with the reactive piece. So once we receive the information from SmartScore, we have what we call consultants, damage prevention consultants, that's going to take that and they're going to really manage that data. They're going to manage the information that we're getting back from SmartScore, because we have a database, we have a spreadsheet that kind of lists all of the excavators and say, these are the folks that we're working with. These folks have been very reactive and very receptive, I meant to say receptive, and they're on our team, right? They're on the damage prevention train and it's heading out of the station. These folks over here, though, we're getting pushback and they're not being receptive. So we're gonna really continue to work with them. And so one thing that we do with the algorithm or with the smart scores is that we build our day, or our consultants go out and build their day. Okay, I'm going to go visit these folks today. And we just show up in the field randomly. We show up in the field. And as Alex mentioned, the important part is to get there before excavation takes place. What we like to call the sweet spot, Alex. We want to get there right before they're about ready to decide whether they're putting buckets or shovels into the ground. And what we do is we just do a simple field evaluation. In this field evaluation, it's basically just based on the normal things. Number one, did you call for a dig ticket? That's number one. Number two, can you identify the locate marks, or do you understand positive response? And if the contractor starts bending over to look under a backhoe, they lost, right? That's it. But another thing is, have you identified any conflicts or crossings, right? Have you identified that your excavation is going to cross our facilities? And if so, have you potholed them? If not, how and when are you going to pothole? One of the things I'm really laser focused on trying to change the culture with our customers, or our ex-customers as excavators, is to please stop. I've seen this so many times where the foreman will go out and say, okay, we are going to cross this gas line. They'll take a tape measure and they'll measure out the tolerance zone. In Southern Nevada, or in Nevada, it's 24 inches. So they'll measure out 24 inches and put a white mark. And they'll go to the other side and measure out 24 inches and put a white mark. And they've just identified the tolerance zone. Then they look over at the backhoe operator and say, okay, now dig up until you hit this point, and then we'll look for the utility. I need to change that. I need to change that around so that they're actually potholing, looking for the utilities first before they start putting mechanical equipment in the ground. And that's what we're trying to influence. That goes to influencing the best digging, best practices and with our customers. So the question is, after we're done with this evaluation, what do we do with it? Well, it's a simple yes, no. It's a pass fail. Are you a safe digging partner? So our consultants will take all that information and they'll say, okay, based on our interaction, do I consider this excavator, this customer, a safe digging partner? If the answer is yes, fantastic. We're gonna do all our documentation, we're gonna track, but you know what else we're gonna do? The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go up, we're gonna talk to that excavator and just say thank you. Thank you for being a safe digging partner. Thank you for taking the time to look at the facilities and come up with a game plan on how you're going to cross these facilities safely and really being an example to the other, your peers in the industry. We might even hand out like a damage prevention champion cup or, you know, just some swag, something we have, but just something small to say, thanks a lot for being a safe digging partner. And I think that helps solidify that partnership as well. So what if it's no? What if it's the guy looking under the backhoe, right? Well, okay, you're not a safe digging partner. So now this is really where the work begins, right? This is where we start building that strategic partnership. So now we've got the evaluation, and when it's a safe digging partner, we're gonna document it. We're gonna hand out damage prevention packets. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna escalate it. And we're right now, this is one of the things that we're working with Alex and I. Right now, it's on a spreadsheet. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if you're like me, but I don't know how many spreadsheets I have and I have to manage and filter. And we're really looking for some sort of a program that's a catch-all, but that's later down the road, right, Alex? But anyways, we're going to track all these excavators and we're going to find out, who we need to continue to work with as it escalates. And now we're going to move from the proactive approach, right, or the proactive phase of the consultation program into the reactive phase. So now we've got to react because now we know there's an issue. Now we know that this excavator needs some help. They need some of our guidance and some of our influence. And by the way, anybody that hits us, anybody that damages us, damages our facilities and ends up being the responsible party or the primary damaging cause for that damage automatically gets into the reactive. Like we skip the field of, I mean, you failed, right? You damage the facility, you failed. So now you're in the reactive part, and we have another damage prevention consultant that's really managing this portion of it. And the first thing we want to do is we need to get into that office. I want to talk to management. I want to talk to safety directors. I even want to talk to the ownership, right? Like I need to get to the decision makers in this organization because I already know based on our evaluation in the field, something's not clicking. And there's a lot of times when we meet with ownership or high-level management inside of an organization, they have all the right answers. They can spit out, oh yeah, we need a ticket, we need positive response, we need to make sure that we identify crossings, we need to, and they have that. And a lot of them are very shocked when I tell them that this is great. You have the right answers. You have the answers to the test. Why isn't it getting to the field, right? Why isn't it getting to the field? So one of the things that we do is we hold the consultation in office, and I love going to their office. Go to their home court because you already know as you're walking in, if you've had any experience of this at all, it can be a tense situation. You're the big bad utility coming in to talk to the excavator, and sometimes in the past, excavators and utility owner operators and line locators, they've just butted heads, right? I've even had excavators say, I'll do whatever, you're the big bad utility, I can't fight you. And it's almost like they're submitting. I don't want that. I don't want you to submit to me. I want you to partner with me. Don't just say, oh, I'll do what you want and then turn around and then do it, not really do what we need you to do. So we've got to build that partnership. So the first thing I do is go to their office, go to their home court. And it never fails. I'll walk in and everyone's sitting in a conference room like this and they're all sitting back, arms folded, chest puffed. You can feel the tension in the room. So the best way that I find to kind of dissolve that is just simply asking, before we get started, I want to know how we're doing. How are you, how is the line locators treating you? Are we getting to your tickets on time? Are we marking accurately? Let's go through the list of what we're supposed to do first. Now, I'll tell you a little bit of a warning. As soon as you ask that question, get ready for about a 15 to 20 minute conversation about how bad we suck in every problem in the process that beats up excavators. Get ready to hear that, but we need to hear that. That's what I need to hear. How can I improve my customer service to my customers? And that's what I need to hear. So once we do that, it's amazing. As they start just venting and all the problems, you know what? organically, it just switches all of a sudden to, well, maybe we could do something a little better. Maybe I could do better here. And now they start self-identifying, and I didn't even have to bring up the problems that they have. Because trust me, folks, they know the problems before you get there. They know they hit the gas line. They know they didn't do the right thing, right? Whatever it is. You don't have to highlight that. But for them to highlight it is a win. So now they're highlighting it. They're talking about what they can do. And now you've really got their attention. And now you're on the road to that strategic partnership. It really helps. And now you can talk about promoting damage prevention training. And really, damage prevention training, I'll tell you, the training, as Alex mentioned, one thing we did in Nevada is through the NRCGA, is we have all the members and we said, look, let's have one training for the state. Because, Southwest Gas can train in damage prevention, and Nevada Energy can train, and all the other members can train and do their own damage prevention training. But doesn't it make sense to have one consistent message to our customers so we're not confusing them? And that's what we really did to enhance damage prevention training, is we brought it in, we partnered with the NRCGA. And so now all of our members funnel all of the training. Anybody that's damaging phone lines or power lines or any of our members' utilities, it funnels in to that damage prevention training, leaving one message to the excavator. And I'd love to share with that damage prevention training. I think there's a huge value in it, because we don't just train on what excavators are supposed to do. We train, and we train them on what we're supposed to do. And that's where we've really built that culture of thinking them as a customer and talking about they should expect good customer service from our line locators. They have to rely on the information that we provide so that they can make good decisions. So they should expect that 100%. Customer service satisfaction, right? So anyways, but back to the training, one thing, because I know it's valuable and I've seen it improve numbers, as Alex shared with you. And I've had owners of large companies say, you know what, I'm forced to go to training because maybe the Public Utility Commission forced them into it. And they come up after the training and said, I want every one of my employees that touches anything underground in this training. I've had that on multiple occasions, and that's when you win. That's when we're building that partnership. They have trust. They know we're not wasting their time, and we're bringing something valuable to our customers. So if I can get excavators, the organization, the ownership, if I can get them to commit to onboarding and integrating this damage prevention training in their onboarding process, we've seen great results with that. Because let me tell you something. I've been to a damage where a backhoe operator damaged a gas line. And I'm just curious. I said, how long have you been operating? Well, about 6 months. Oh, really? What were you doing before that? Selling jeans in a mall. And I'm not even kidding you. So he went from 6 months selling jeans in a mall to operating a backhoe, right? A little scary, right? I've seen good operators, I've seen bad operators, but to go from 6 months, and what kind of training are they getting? They're probably trained on how to utilize and move the equipment, but are we getting to what's underground? Everything we need them to be a good, a good strategic partner. Do they know they have a dig ticket? Do they have positive response? Did they identify any conflicts or crossing? And if so, what's the game plan to cross it, right? This kid, I shouldn't say kid, I'm sorry. This gentleman, young man, was definitely not thinking about any of those things. He was told to go out and dig a trench, and that's what he was doing, and he hit a gas line, right? So that training is extremely important. And if I can offer that to an organization for free, right? They've got to pay the time. But if we can integrate that in their onboarding, it really helps and improves, and we've seen that. Okay, so moving on. So now that we've built this strategic partnership and we've got a receptive audience, now we've got to follow up and solidify. This is important. Alex, we can't leave these guys just out there on their own, right? Because what happens if you don't develop and build a relationship? It kind of reverts back to what it was before you started working with them. And that's the last thing we want. We do not want them to revert back to the relationship. And I'll tell you, I've seen this. When COVID struck and it kind of shut down that face-to-face interaction, guys, I've seen these strategic partnerships that we worked really hard to develop kind of start falling down to the wayside. Especially in 2020, when we couldn't get the damage prevention training to folks. We had to rely on virtual training, but we really saw those numbers kind of start ticking up. And if we looked at our trends, you can see from March of 2020 to the end of the year, our our trend just started slowly creeping up. And I really believe it's because we didn't have the opportunity to solidify our partnerships. So we've got to make ourselves, how do you do it, right? How do you solidify the partnership once you've built it? Make yourself available. We're all busy. I get it. I'm extremely busy. I've got emails. I mean, we're all busy. But when a contractor calls me, what I'm thinking in my head is that's my customer. I'm going to make time for my customer because I've got to make them the number one priority. And what scares me, Alex, is when I miss a call or I can't take the call, I'm thinking to myself, they're making bad decisions. They're making bad decisions. I got to get in front of them, right? So make yourself available to the contractor, and not just because of gas, not just because, they have questions about Southwest Gas. They might be having a problem with another member, another utility owner operator. And, you have the contacts, I have the contacts to help them find the avenue they need to make right decisions. And so make yourself available. Contribute as part of regional committees. That's important, right? Here it's the NRCGA, Nevada, wherever you're at in your state or in your region, where are you involved, with the committees? I promise you, there's committees out there right now with line locators, utility owner operators, regulators, municipalities, excavators, all meeting to try to solve these problems. And if they're not, start one, right? If you don't have one, start one. And then be receptive to different perspectives. Excavating to an excavator, 811 or damage prevention, or the damage prevention process, I should say, to an excavator, it's just a pinch of what they do. It's a tiny part of their day. After they cross the utility lines, they still have buildings to build. They have roads to build. They have infrastructure to put in. So crossing my gas line is just a little pinch of what they do. It's an important pinch. It's a pinch that we've got to really pay attention, but they have different perspectives too. So be willing to listen to some of the struggles that they might have, some of the things that they might need to voice their opinion, and then work with them, invite them to best practice meetings, invite them when you're thinking about maybe changing your state statutes, bring that perspective in, it'll only help. And then share contacts. When you have that connection, share your contacts, connect everybody. That's what we really need. We really need that connection. It's what we've strived for in Southern Nevada. And, one of the things I did is just went out and I just asked some of the major companies here in Southern Nevada, how they felt about the consultation process, how they felt about these strategic partnerships that we built. I've asked Tyler Bird with Bird Underground, the owner, and then Scott Allen with Las Vegas Paving, a great guy and a very receptive guy. Both of these guys became extremely good partners. But I'll tell you, it took a minute to develop that partnership. The first time I ever met Scott Allen, Alex, was on a damage, and I walked out to investigate. Okay, what happened? How'd the gas line get hit? I went out and I walked up to Scott Allen and I stuck my hand out and said, "I'm Dennis Bottom with Southwest Gas," and he looked at me and he turned around and walked away. Because and later on, and I thought to myself, I've got a lot of work to do. I've got a lot of work to do here. But later on, he said, I just was at the point where it didn't matter what I said or how I talked. I just, the utilities did what they wanted to do. We're going to do what we want to do. And I said, well, we're going to change that today. And now, I think based on his quote, he feels a lot differently today. So let's move on. Now, this is an amazing damage prevention alert that we received. If you're looking at the picture to the right, the Bobcat with the trench, if you look at above the fence line, that building that's behind this residence, that is actually Southwest Gas corporate office. And one of those windows up there, maybe you can we kind of put a little dot, as that's where the boardroom is. And our CEO, John Hester, was actually sitting in the boardroom and happened to look out the window and see some excavation going on. Well, you know what he did? He submitted a damage prevention alert. He actually drove to the site and introduced himself and asked if they had a dig ticket, and they did not have a dig ticket. And we immediately sent out our consultant, which is pictured on the left there, to work with that excavator and to get him into the process and bring him into the fold. But I thought that was an amazing example of leadership commitment about damage prevention in Southwest Gas when the president and CEO says, I'm going to go check on this and submit a damage prevention alert. What a fantastic story. So really, that's really what we've done here in Southern Nevada. And Alex's job, as he mentioned, is to now solidify this and take it to the rest of the company, which you've done pretty much, right, for the most part, with our Smart Score program. We built that with the pilot. We grew this, and now we've spread it out. I think every division now has a consultation process, is working with the Smart Score, pulling those algorithms and those tickets, and it's just been an amazing. So I appreciate your time, folks. I really do enjoy it. I'm going to give it back to Alex to wrap it up here.
Thanks, Dennis. And one of the things that we wanted to share with the attendees on the call was our future steps. And there's not a lot here. We have many other steps than this, but in terms of Smart Score, and as I mentioned, one of the biggest parts of my role here at Southwest Gas is encouraging that standardization, right? So we have 5 divisions, and to encourage that standardization, we want to be able to provide a platform to track all the data associated with Smart Score. And I know my friends over at Earth right now are like, what are you talking about? Let's just use Utilisphere, which is probably what we're going to end up doing right after this call. I'm sure I'm going to get a call, right? And then of course, add consultation analytics, because there's so many fields associated with that spreadsheet that we have pulled up, where it would just be nice to be able to associate that data in a data visualization software like Power BI, right? So that we can slice and dice the data however we see fit, so that we can make future decisions, right, based on that data. So those are the future steps that we have here at Southwest Gas as part of that damage prevention excavator consultations process. And we're really excited for this opportunity. Again, we want to thank Infrastructure Resources and DP Pro for giving us the opportunity to jump on the webinar and share this with you.
Share our passion.
Share our passion. And then we also want to thank Earth Solutions for everything that they've done to help us in damage prevention and for sponsoring the webinar.
And we have time for questions. It looks like there's some stuff in chat if you want to do that.
Would you like me to read off the questions, or did you want to go
Yeah.
ahead?
Either way, Alex, you can pull up chat. We can.
Sure, let me see if I have access here. Oh, all right, well, that was easy.
Very
We'll go ahead and start from the top here. Okay,
Oh, that was nice, Ryan.
Thanks,
Can't see
Ryan.
the bat. Appreciate
Yeah.
you.
all right, but you saw it eventually, so that's good.
All right.
All right.
Okay, here's the first question. Alex, you take this one.
Is this program integrated into the ticket management system? Yes, it is. Earth Solution provides their ticket management system, which makes this a lot easier, right? As I mentioned, that as soon as the dig ticket is submitted by the excavator, it goes to the one call center into our ticket management system, and that's where the score automatically scores that ticket based on the data that they've helped us program into the algorithm for Smart Score.
Do you want me to take this next one? It's
Sure.
a little bit of operation. So yes, the program does require boots on the ground. And that's, at first, when we first started, it was just me running around out there and working this process. But one of the things that we did was utilize our contractors. We had things in our contract so we could open up as damage prevention consultants, or a damage prevention position that was available to us via our contract. We opened that line up and started and made them a damage prevention consultant. But we have added resources, and I think that's the crux of your question, is how do you work past that challenge? I think the way we work past the challenge is we brought results. So there was return on investment, right? It wasn't just, hey, bring some resources in and let's hope. We actually proved concept, worked really hard. Like I said, it was just me at the beginning, but I was pounding the pavement and proving that if we grow this, and to this day, I'm still knocking on the door, trust me, and saying, hey, if we add more consultants, we can drive these numbers down, right? So it's just all about proving those results. And I think if you can do that, you can open doors to provide more resources.
Okay, thanks, Raymond. Christy Moore, let's see here. Can you speak to how you are managing the risk of your above ground assets? For example, meters. Most utilities have removed boots on the ground.
So really, so the Public Utility Commission, they're very adamant when we have a vehicle versus MSA, and I think that's what you're talking about is above ground assets, the meters. Really we're putting in the guards, right? Anytime that happens. And I wouldn't really know anything else above ground because I'm really focused on below ground, but Alex, maybe you might have something.
So in damage prevention, specifically, it focuses on excavation. for our damage prevention program. We don't focus on the above ground damages. That's really it's outside of our purview. So we can't really speak to that.
We could probably get someone in touch with Christy though. that can
Yeah.
help her. Yeah.
We can definitely do that.
All right.
All right. 2020 numbers. Yeah, I did notice that I had 2019 to 2021, but didn't show 2020 numbers. But I will have to follow up with you, David, or I'll follow up with the webinar folks so we can get that data to you.
I love that. I love you called you out on that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, copy.
Got you.
How many locate tickets do you have per year and what is your staffing level? So Dennis, I'll let you talk about the staffing level in Southern Nevada, but company-wide, our ticket volume, last year we had 850,000 tickets. And as I mentioned earlier on the call, we're slated for roughly 950,000 to 1 million tickets this year with the increase that we're having. We're having roughly a 14% increase this year alone. And then from 2019 and almost a 20% increase in big tickets.
Yeah, and as far as our staffing levels, right now, currently in Southern Nevada, we employ right around 89 with our contract line locator. We have about 89 personnel, and then that ranges from high pressure locators to high pressure standby folks that are doing the dig and monitor. Some people we call it a high pressure standby, but it's the dig and monitor, whatever you call it in your organization. And the consultants play a role in that. And some other kind of specialty technicians, but that's in our contract line locator. Under me right now, I have a supervisor that oversees that contract, and then we have roughly around 10 personnel that's internal Southwest Gas employees that are helping out with like trouble locates and things of that nature.
All right, thanks, Derek. Roberts, how many people are working in the damage prevention department?
I think I just answered that.
Yeah.
Well, that's for my area, right? And but I love Robert. Robert, when you ask that question, I consider every single Southwest Gas employee I consider as a damage prevention partner, right? And so when we send out the service text, that's that whole damage prevention alert program. But specifically within the damage prevention department here, I just gave you that we have one supervisor and about 10 technicians, a couple leads in there that help support that.
Right, and then we also have here at Southwest Gas, line locating reports under the local damage prevention administrator. So they have a myriad of resources that can be utilized from a contractor or employee pool.
Yeah, we do have a third-party inspection group too that we also utilize. So we have the contract line locator. We also have a third-party inspection group that does inspections on the line locate contractor, and I have 6 of those as well. So great questions though. Oh, that's when they couldn't hear the video.
Oh man, that was rough.
And then it was, yes, we can hear the video.
Oh, okay. Oh man, I guess we should have the comments up.
Yeah.
Okay, Colby, how do external people submit an alert? Is it through your website or a phone call?
This is so I know Ryan White's on the call here. I saw his name, and Ryan White is the general manager. I know I always screw up the title, but he's like second in command at USA North 811. Ryan and I have really worked hard to build what we call a concerned citizen notification. So if external people, and that's one thing that we add as a tool for our partners out there is look, and I'm gonna, if we don't mind, I'm gonna go on a little bit of a tangent. One of the challenges that we find when we're convincing people they need to call 811 is a lot of times they'll say, listen, Dennis, if I get a customer that calls me and they want me to work today, and if I tell them no, because I need 2 working days to call in a dig ticket, if I do that, they're just going to go to the next guy. And that's going to kill my business. And that's a challenge. That's a real challenge they have. So one of the tools we give them is say, look, you don't risk it. And then if you happen to drive by and see somebody working, you can submit a notification that says that you're concerned about this. And we'll send our consultants out there. But that is something that our regulators in Nevada are extremely sensitive about. Everyone needs to be on the same playing field. They really went to war with the fencing companies a couple of years back, and they fought, issued a bunch of fines, and they got everybody on the same program so that nobody could circumvent the system and get out there and dig and make unfair profits because someone was trying to do the right thing. So that's a great question, and that's an important part of the whole process. Kelly?
Do your consultants work 24/7, 365? If not, what's the response for an alert look like?
That's a great question too. So no, they don't work 3 6. We have employees that are working all hours, right? 365. So we have coverage out there that's out there. But when if you're talking specifically about responding to a damage prevention alert or responding to Smart Score, no, they'll go, as soon as possible. So the next morning they'll get up, and if there came one late in the evening or something, they'll get to it as soon as possible the next work day.
All right. Thanks, Chris. We like it too. All right. Got me thinking about some ideas. Perfect. Very nice.
Oh, I'd love to hear the ideas.
Yep. Thanks, Christy. All right, Kyle.
Yeah.
What's the best way for facility operators to justify the business case to their leadership? At some point, does the reduction in damages pay for the increased costs in implementing this program and the increase in resources needed to make it successful?
This is a good point.
Want to
Yeah,
take that?
I'll take this because I've talked to my leadership, and at some point there is a kind of a, if we get to 95%, how much is that 5% going to cost it? And you've got to evaluate that, right? Is it worth that 5% worth driving a lot more money? And I'll tell you, as these numbers go down, you're right, it's going to get more expensive to keep driving the numbers down. And I'm sure that the leadership in your organization or my organization is going to hit that threshold where it's saying, yeah, we're doing really good here, and it's just going to have to be a decision. What I'm going to do personally is I'm just going to keep driving the numbers and try the best I can to show how beneficial this is. If we want to get to zero damages, and that's the goal, I think, of everybody, we're going to have to build that business case. And I think we do that just by driving the numbers down. So it's something I've got to tackle. It's in the back of my mind. I don't have the silver bullet answer for you, but definitely been on the back of my mind. I think the answer is just keep driving results. Sorry, we had to step out, and we're in another meeting here. We had to tell them we're going to be a little late. Are you high?
Who's your contract? Okay, Commissioner.
I'll let you take. Well, we have two.
We have two contract line locators, ELM utility services, and we have stake center locating. What is the process for damage investigations? So,
Ooh, this is a good one. The flow chart. I think you should mention the flow chart.
well, we have an extensive a process. We have a very comprehensive flow chart that helps us determine what CGA would consider root cause, Southwest Gas considers it damage cause. We have like I said, we have a very comprehensive flow chart around that. But
and that's to build consistency through our organization.
that's right.
So when you're investigating it, you have to come to that primary damaging cause. We're calling it the same no matter where we're at in our footprint.
And you know what, and I had mentioned earlier, right? We need the data to help drive decisions, and that flow chart is instrumental in ensuring that we have good data and that we're arriving to the right damage cause depending on the situation. And this flow chart addresses almost every scenario.
It was 3
Almost.
years in the making
Yeah.
with a lot of debates, because if we shared that flow chart with you, I think you might even look at it and go, oh, that's a little controversial, but we took it on. We took it on head on. And I think we could share that with anybody that would like it.
Yes, I think we can. And then as far as like damage investigations, I'm not sure if they're wanting to know, do our contract locators perform the damage investigation?
Yeah, it's a joint, obviously with any damage investigation, we bring in all parties. So the excavator, the line locator, everyone gets their say. So yeah, but that flow chart is important. That's really the foundation of our investigation.
Okay, all right.
Thanks for all the compliments. Appreciate that. Ooh, that's a good one.
So right now, something that we're looking at here at Southwest Gas is working with somebody who has data science in their background that can really take a look at what we've considered risky here at Southwest Gas and the data that we provided to help the algorithm, spit out these scores. But right now, we've just put our heads together and we've worked really diligently to ensure that the data that we provided is as accurate as it can possibly be to influence that algorithm.
Yeah.
And then, like we mentioned, it's the the flow chart that really helps us get accurate data.
So, and I think Adriana, I hope I said your name right. I think, one of the things that really helps too is if if you're using a system like SmartScore, you're receiving this data, you've got to manage it. Our consultants really manage those, the scores that we get. They're the ones that are going out to validate. Because if they go out and they go, wait a minute, this, I'm responding to this ticket because it was ranked high in our score, and they realize it's not valid, for whatever reason, they come back and we can have the power to customize that, configure it, and adjust those algorithms so that it is validated.
That's right.
Yeah.
Have you all automated any ticket screening based off
Never.
of SmartScore? Well,
Never.
no, we don't really even do ticket screening for a regular locate.
Yeah.
With SmartScore not involved.
We'll always go to our tickets regardless. So screening isn't it. I know that there's some uses for it, but we don't have any use for it. At least I don't.
We absolutely do. Thanks, Robert.
To see it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, not a problem.
Okay. Maybe we can send it and have
Annie,
yeah.
okay. Send you.
Okay. Who is that says call us? Annie. Oh, hey Annie. Okay.
Yeah.
Glad to see you, Annie. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Awesome.
Thanks,
Thanks, Raymond.
Raymond. All right.
You camp out on large project tickets. Another great question. One of the things we do is we just focus on them and knock them out. But again, we expect our line locators to provide that good customer service. So we build those relationships with the customers, excavators. What do you need from us? Do you need us here every day? We all know that on large projects, there could be 4 or 5 different trades at a time. So trying to maintain the marks is tough for some of our customers. So we'll work with them. Do you need me out here every day? I can get out here in front of your crews and give you 500 feet. The one thing I would say is that we want to make sure that our resources are not being wasted. So if everybody says, hey, I need you to mark 1,000 feet, that's being a little ridiculous. I know you're not going to excavate 1,000 feet today. Why don't I just give you 500 feet and then work with you on a daily basis? So we don't camp out on large projects, but we build that customer relationship and work with our excavators to their needs. Excavators should never dictate the timetable to locators should never dictate the timetable to an excavator. The excavator should always be dictating their timetable to us, and we need to react to that. All right.
I think
Is that it?
I think that sums it up. Linda,
Thanks,
you
Linda.
for your comment there, and we appreciate everybody's
Great
comments.
feedback. Yeah, thank you all.
Let's see here. We look forward to it too.
Yes.
Well, absolutely. We can grab that flow chart and share that with the rest of the group here.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, we will pass it back to infrastructure resources.
Thanks,
Great.
everybody.
Okay, thank you for your time today, guys. Everyone will be receiving a survey when they close out the webinar, and we would appreciate any feedback that you have for us. And again, this recording will be on dppro.com. Thank you, everybody, and stay safe.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great day.
You too.